Hi everyone, this is Pierrick from P2design. In this fourth tutorial, I will rapidly show you how to make post-production in Photoshop to enhance a little our base render. Let's get started. So if your render runs fast, you should have in your folder those different passes, and we will just assemble them in Photoshop very quickly. So let's launch it. It's a French version of Photoshop. I will try to translate every menu, but you should find stuff pretty easily. So the first trick to load every picture at once is to go into File, Automation, and check, no, in Script, sorry, load file in, I don't know, layers or something like this. I go for those, I select everything, click OK. You can even select the folder and click OK, and let's just wait for Photoshop to load everything. The good stuff about this is that it will load every image in a layer and in place, which is more relevant than copy and pasting open file, because if you forget to use Ctrl+Shift+V to paste things in place, you will have some offset on the different images. And also the good thing about this is that Photoshop is automatically naming the layers with the file names. So as Blender outputted the whole images with the correct name, you end up with all your render layer named correctly. So we know how all our passes load into Photoshop. Let's organize it a little bit. I will separate the necklace passes and put them into a group, and the ground passes above like this, and I will keep the Z passes for later work. In group 1, I will name it. I don't name them usually when working on a small post-production, because it will be straightforward. Control click on the necklace pass, the combined pass. You will have automatically the alpha, and with the group selected, click the mask. It will automatically create you the mask. That's fine. Now let's put the necklace in the bottom of this row of images. Usually I take the AO and put it in overlay. It will bump the contrast. Let's put it at 15%. I do the same with the diffuse direct pass, assuming that you have a diffuse shader in all your shaders. Overlay at 15. It will increase the shadows and also the highlights, and it will give them a little more hue from the lightning. Then I use the glossy direct that I get out of the folder here. I will add a Gaussian blur. So in the filter blur, Gaussian blur, with a value here of 4, something like this. You put it into linear density adding, and it highlights everything. Then you create a mask, use the how to say it, color ramp tool, and select, I want this area highlighted. I will make it this way and invert it, Control I, and reduce its opacity. It's up to you. I think here that 43 is okay for me. Then we will check what we have here. The trans color, I won't be using it. The Z, I won't be using it. That's why I've made combined Z pass of both necklace and background. The transmission, indirect, and color, I won't use them. But in case you want to try some fusion effect, it's up to you. The shadow, I won't use it here. The gloss color, I usually use it to increase the Fresnel effect, but in this case, with linear density, it looks not that bad. So what we will do is we will use the shadow pass to create a mask, but first we will slightly blur it. So it's not needed here, but usually you have those squares appearing on the surface of your mesh, and I don't know why sometimes the shadow pass is not smoothed automatically by Blender. So let's just get rid of this. Control A to select everything, Control C. We will add here a mask to our gloss color pass. Alt click in the mask to edit it. Control Shift V, it will pass our shadow pass as a mask. So now I have those area masked. I don't know why my keyboard is bugging now. Really annoying sound, whatever. And we will reduce it drastically. Okay, it will just make it bumping out of the picture. And I think that's gonna be it for this. Or also, yeah, I will show you something I have done on the bonus stage. You will see this tutorial in the next part. And I have seen this in other post-production videos, but what you can do is add in the adjustment layers, add the hue and saturation layer, alt click between the shadow and this new layer to make it affecting only the shadow layer. Use colorize, I think it's reset or something like this in English, but here there is only one option. Increase the luminosity to have the shadow with color and give it the hue you want. Usually we're going to use blue, and select the shadow pass and switch it to multiply, so that you will have those bluish shadows, and then drastically reduce the opacity, like 25% is way enough. Okay, because the actual render outputted from Blender is oftenly good enough. Okay, so you doesn't need to add more shadow, more stuff like this. It's a matter of taste and of choice, and you may find also your style through this process. So what I have done on another post-production is use this div color pass. If you are working on characters, it's very useful to enhance the eye color. Oftenly after post-production, the iris color is just blurred or duller or darker. Okay, and you can use this with addition, for example, or density. Linear density will be a bit too strong, but it really enhances, like it is emissive, and for cartoonish characters, that's a good way to enhance it. But in this tutorial, the example image was way darker than this, and you can switch this to multiply and put it just upon the combined pass, and you will naturally have these darker tones, keeping your original color alive, and then you can tweak it. I will just make it like 20%, just to say, okay, I have used this pass. And the necklace transmission direct is the only path for transmission that could be useful if you want to make the hairs, the fur, transmitting more light, like it was more fluffy. Putting it in addition, for example, you see, we can see it more clearly, but the problem with this pass is that it has a lot of fireflies, oftenly, so I don't really use it. Plus here most of this fur is in the shadow, so I only have the tips highlighted with a lot of fireflies. So let's get rid of it. Now for the ground pass, so the bust and our background, let's just add the AO with overlay, also reduce its opacity, that's bumping the contrast a little, and we won't be using the shadow. I will use it, okay, just for the fun, as I show you. UN saturation layer, alt click between those two layers, colorize or reset, add a bluish color, increase the luminosity, turn it to product. Oh no, sorry, this layer. If you change the I don't know how to say it, but the mode of those things, don't remember the word in English, I'm sorry, it will affect the whole result, and it's pretty hard to deal with it. It's better to change those mode here. So multiply, and it looks pretty shitty because this shadow pass hasn't been combined with the rest, and it doesn't look really good. It's projecting the shadows here. We could have used a color ramp in the mask to reduce this effect, maybe like this. Okay, I have this bluish tone here. I don't think it gives really a good effect. I will reduce it and we can say, okay, we have used it here. So let's see what we have done. I will just duplicate the necklace, put it here. Let's group this all one. It's my first pass of post-production, so that you can compare what you have done. Base render and first step of post-production. So we have more contrast, more highlights. Tweak this really subtly if you are doing some more realistic renders, because I'm not used to this. But okay, tweaking the result might lead to some unrealistic behavior. So for a realistic pass, just okay, add your stuff really subtly and then play with the curves to add more contrast and stuff like this. So it's what we are going to do here. Sorry, I will add here an adjustment layer curve, alt on the folder here, reduce the darker area and make this classical S curve for this, and that's really, I think it's in the automations maybe, but you make a slight S curve and it will bump the contrast. Let's add some post-production to the ground also. Here, same way, so that we have, I make it way darker because as it hasn't add a shader, it's pure white. I don't like it that much. And let's say this pass is okay, so you just select all, group it, duplicate it, Control E to flatten this, and now we have a picture here of what we have done. And we will add another curve here to make the vignette effect and reduce the lightning a lot. Add here in the mask a gradient with a spherical shape like this. Let's get further so that we have this vignette effect, which is pretty common now, but helped to have a focal point into the picture. Now we will duplicate this. We will add a Gaussian blur to it. Okay, this default one is a bit strong, but I will keep it this way so that you will see the result easily. We have our Z pass here. I will hide this, okay, and it will be used for the mask. Okay, we will change the value with a curve. We'll reduce the lighting a little so that I have something more contrasted in the back, and we will invert it because what is in white will make the blurry effect appear. So in this case it will be blurry in the front and sharp in the back. That's not what we want. So Control I to invert. We don't really care about those white dots. Let's just Control E to flatten those both layers. Control A, Control C. Create a mask on the blurred layer here. Alt click in the mask to enter mask editing. Control Shift V to paste in place the Z pass. Now let's just click here to see the result. Do I have some depth information here? Seems to be super subtle. Okay, then the background seems to be blurred a little. We can reduce, because it's too dark. I make it too dark. Okay, let's just reset it. Control Alt Z, Control E here, and we will just modify it this way. Okay, now I think it will be better. So mask, alt click in the mask, Control Shift V. Let's see the result. Yeah, I have this blurry effect here. We can see it. I will zoom in a little. Okay, that's not as precise as the procedural blur, or if you are using focal length in Blender. Okay, that's the best way to do your blur than using it in post-production. But the problem is that if you want to play with it after the render, and if you are doing the post-production in another software than Blender, that's pretty tricky to play with depth and blurry effect like this. Okay, so let's say this second pass is okay. Call it 2. I will duplicate this group. I will flatten it. We'll duplicate it again. Filter miscellaneous, I think, and I pass, I believe, in English. That's the way you do this. Let's reduce it to 1. Some people try to output bump maps using this process. That works pretty fine. What it does is that it's like adding a curve that will push every darker area and lighter areas to a 50% value of light, and it will just make the high points and the lower ones appearing a little like 48 of light and 52. And the good thing about this is that it will help us to have some more definition into our image. So once you have applied it, just push it into overlay and that's gonna be subtle here. But if you are planning to make low res outputs and push them to the web, for example, that's some things to do. Okay, it makes everything, I will zoom in again. Okay, without it's like this, it's a bit dull. Okay, and with you have those sharper pixels and stuff like this. Finally, I believe I will add, maybe test a curve here see if I can get something better. I like dark things. I'm sorry. Some people may have told me I was working with too dark stuff. Listening metal all day long, that's not a good thing to make happy scene. Okay, and we will add a filter, photo filter, that will allow you to give an overall hue to your work. So just try the gradient here. Usually I use orangey tones by default, but on the other one I got a nice result with greeny tone and bluish ones. Okay, here I like the bluish one, maybe a bit more purplish. Okay, and let's call this done. So I will try to show you how it looks if we compare with the original one. And here is our post-production. So you may like it or not, but you see that you have a real power to change the atmosphere and every values and give your picture a better look. Okay, that's it for this